YouTube video, a 3-part portion. The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, I believe it is, that Mama Mayhem said. So this is part 1 of the 3-part series. So, the good. Just trying to think. But the good things about me, the qualities that I'm strong with, emotionally and physically I'm strong. I'm concentrated, I'm focused, I'm willing to work. I like work. Then there's the stubborn side, which is a good and bad thing. At times there are that I need to argue, I can argue, but there's other times where it's like I shoot myself in the foot. What else? I'm always willing to help. I like helping. I like giving back to people because a lot of the time when I was growing up I needed help and I didn't get it until later on, and just giving back and helping people is a good thing for me. Trying to think. Yeah, the last video I did, which I believe was last Tuesday, might have been Monday night. It was 15 minutes and 38 seconds, and YouTube denied it. So this is another edit of that. Last time I've been sitting over there with you guys facing the wall behind you. Well, behind me originally. However, I figured this would be a lot easier to do because A, you're not distracted by all my lovely artwork, and you can actually see more of my face than last time. And last time I had a case of backpack face. I got smacked in the face by a gigantic book sack when I was running up the stairwell in school, so now you can see my entire face compared to the half swollen mess I was. But anyway, back to the main part of the video, the good. As I said, I was strong, I was concentrated, I'm willing to help. I like working with my hands, I like putting things back together, breaking them apart, putting them back together. I mean, there are so many things I like to do with my hands besides building things. I like drawing, I like computers, I like electronics, stuff like that. I like to know how and why. I'm a bit of a cynic. I tell it like it is. I can't deny that, because if I denied that, well, I'd rather put that out there and make sure that people know that I'm telling them what I see from my perspective. But there are people who don't understand from my perspective, and they prefer just to do it on their own because they're too ignorant. So, let's see what else. The other good things. I'm athletic. I try really hard in sports, and with the diagnosis and the back surgeries and everything else, just being told you can't do this, you can't do that, annoys me. I mean, I've done every sport in the book. I've done mountain climbing, backpacking, mountaineering, rock climbing, soccer, swimming, basketball, tennis. I've done ice hockey, curling, stuff like that, and just being told you can't do sports anymore kind of annoyed me. So I basically disproved the doctor. I swam this year on varsity again. Again, as manager, I basically kept everything in order. I got everybody in their lanes, told them what events they were swimming, kept score, assisted the captains. Curling is an interesting story. I started curling in 10th grade. I started really late compared to a lot of the kids at the club, but my first year curling, I went out on a back injury, which was the end of 2010. And I had the back injury through 2011, the beginning of 2011, and my curling was cut short in what was it? I think it was October. It was October of 2010. They told me that I'd have to be removed from that. I was in physical therapy. I was in epidural, spinal injections. I was in pain management, physical therapy, physiotherapy, occupational therapy. I was put through that, and I lost function in my left leg, and being told I couldn't do what I normally could do. I couldn't walk. I was in excruciating pain for almost 9 months, more than that actually. But I did get some relief out of the epidurals, but they only lasted about 2 weeks, and it screwed everything up with me. I'd eat insane. I'd continue eating and eating and eating and eating. But just being told that I couldn't do things, it made me determined, and determined is another one of my characteristics. It made me determined to prove people wrong. I remember the day of the surgery that I was scared out of my mind. I was sitting in the holding room, and I'm sitting there, and I'm talking to my parents, and because 2 days before I had the diagnosis of the hemophilia, I was scared. I got told that the complications with my surgery, all these nasty complications of being paralyzed to bleeding out to death to infection and everything else, was just like, I don't want to put my life out there. I don't want to risk myself. But I remember lying on the OR table, I was sitting there, and they were hooking me up to all the leads and everything, and that's when it just hit me that I screwed my back up, and I screwed up probably an entire year of my life. And just laying there, I was crying hysterically, and the next thing I know, I had the surgical nurse talking to me, and I woke up after the surgery in the recovery room, and I was there for like 5-6 hours just laying there, because I was in and out, in and out, in and out. And I remember getting up to my room almost 7 o'clock at night. My surgery was 9 o'clock in the morning, and it should have only taken them about an hour and a half to 2 hours, and it took them 3.5 hours, because I had the complication from the hemophilia, and they had to give me a transfusion mid-surgery. But getting up to my room, I remember my dad was there, and I was arguing with him about walking, because 9 months earlier I couldn't walk, and I argued with him, and my legs felt like 1,000 pounds, and I told him, no, I'm going to walk today, and he's like, no, you're not, and I argued with him for a good 25 minutes, and my nurse came in, Maureen came in, and I talked to her about walking, because I wanted to walk, and she told me that she'd let me walk. It'd be just right to the bathroom, but just getting up and walking was one of my major accomplishments, and it made me feel unbelievably proud that I could walk again. And my legs felt like 1,000 pounds, and I was numb from pretty much my hips down to my toes. I couldn't feel anything, and that day I told my dad, I'm not just going to walk to the bathroom. I'm walking down that hall if it kills me. And we went out into the hallway, and I told him I want to walk the hallway, and he looked at me like I was crazy. And I walked down. I got to about 15 feet from the nurse's station, and I told him to let go. And he stared at me like I'm crazy, and I'm standing there, and I was like, no, Dad, you have to let go of my arm, and he let go, and I walked back to my room, and it was just one of those feelings that it was undeniable. It was like probably one of the best feelings in my life, besides climbing Mount Washington, and just standing there. I got back to my room, I was so proud of myself that I was crying. But yeah, I'm very determined, which is a good thing. Very laid back usually. I mean, on the forums I come off as a brat and a pain in the ass and an annoyance, but I'm not that bad. I put on that show because it's just one of those things. It's like it's online, and a lot of things get taken out of context, and I try to weed out the trolls and push people's limits, because I want to find out what their breaking points are, so I know not to go there. But I really do mean good. I'm trying to think what else. I'm usually pretty responsible. My dad works 5-6 days a week. He's on call every few weeks. My mom is disabled, on dialysis, diabetic type 2, insulin dependent, kidney failure. So it's just one of those things that I have to be responsible. I'm an only child, so I don't particularly play well with others, but I try my best. I try to manage with everything. What else? Determined. I'm open about myself. A lot of people wouldn't be as open as I am. I've had kids in my school come up to me and ask me weird questions about myself and my personal life, and I'm okay with answering it because I'm confident and comfortable with myself. But I know with other kids that don't know exactly my story and stuff like that, I like telling my story. I like getting it out there. I like people using it and passing on knowledge and stuff like that. So it's just one of those things that I like people knowing who I am and how I think and how I work. I have an interesting dynamic on a lot of things. I came from a relatively smaller town than where I'm living now, and a lot of the stuff that I did there, was very close to my friends. And I lived in a one-floor ranch house. We had a crappy car. It was in a bad section of the town. There was break-ins, robberies, everything. And then I moved to where I am now, and it's the complete opposite. Everybody's got a mansion. Everybody's got a Mercedes-Benz. Everybody's making $200,000 a year income as a medium, and then there's our family, where my dad works his ass off, and my mom's disabled, and she tries to do what she can, and I'm not fitting in with a lot of the kids in my school, but just knowing the dynamics of two different towns, I can sort of see back and forth across the fence, so it's cool like that. I try to rationalize everything. I have to have a rational explanation because otherwise it just annoys me, and I have to figure it out. I always have to figure it out, and the other thing is I'm manipulative. I get that, but it's usually for the best. I try to manipulate things in the best favor and try to persuade people what you're doing is not good. So that's again a help and a hindrance, just like my annoyance issues earlier. I'm trying to think what else. I mean, other than that, I really try to do what I can. I try to be a good kid. I try to balance everything out, but there's just times where it's annoying and it's frustrating and irritating, and it's life, and it's messy and it's uncomfortable, but I get through it, and I just have perseverance, and that's pretty much everything I can think of right now. And I don't want this video to be over 15 minutes because YouTube's going to be a pain in the ass and you'll never see this again. So, and I don't feel like making it a third time, so let's hope this works.